So you were finally ready to get into VR and buy one of the available VR headsets, but then HTC just announced the Vive Pro and now you're not so sure anymore. Should you wait for the Vive Pro or should you simply go ahead and buy one of the available VR headsets? Now let me weigh in on that and give you my opinion. Coming up. Hi and welcome here at Mixed Reality TV. My name is Sebastian Ang, and if you are just as excited as me about VR and AR, then subscribe now and click on the bell button so you don't miss anything. Alright, let's get straight into it. First of all, I can feel your pain. You were just ready to spend hundreds of dollars for a VR system, and then HTC makes this announcement that they're going to come up with a Vive Pro, which is probably better than anything that's on the market right now. Well, at least they will for sure make you want to believe that. So now let me give you my opinion. Well, it really depends on which of the VR systems you were about to buy. And I'm going to go through the different systems now, and I will let you know my opinion if I think you should wait or if you should simply go for it. First of all, let's talk for a moment about the new Vive Pro. So it's an updated model as compared to the current HTC Vive, and what they updated is for sure the resolution. So now you're going to look at a resolution of 1600 times 1440 pixel per eye, which of course is much better than the current resolution of 1200 times 1080. Now let's look at what system you were about to buy. If you were so sure that you're going to buy the HTC Vive now, the original model, the model that's on the market right now, then I would say yes, don't buy the HTC Vive now, wait for the HTC Vive Pro. Let me tell you why. I really love my HTC Vive. It's a fantastic system. It is so great in terms of quality and in terms of tracking and in terms of things that you can do with it. Like for example, you can get these HTC Vive trackers and track all kinds of things with it. It's really for the VR enthusiast. So if you're one of those VR enthusiasts who want the very best tracking, and that's the reason why you want to buy the HTC Vive now, I would tell you wait, go for the HTC Vive Pro, because the current resolution of the HTC Vive really is the one problem. So I do love my HTC Vive, but it's tough to look at the panel now that there's something better on the market. So I must tell you, my eyes are spoiled now because I'm using the Samsung Odyssey a lot, which also has a very high resolution. Actually, the Odyssey has exactly the same resolution like the Vive Pro is going to have. So even it's the same panel that they're using. So my eyes are totally spoiled, and I can tell you, don't go for the HTC Vive now, wait for the Vive Pro. Especially since you're anyways ready to pay such an amount of money for the HTC Vive. However, the problem is that we don't know yet when exactly the Vive Pro is going to come out. So probably you might have to wait for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months until you have the Vive Pro in your hands. And that might be too long for you. So what to do in that case? Now, I would suggest you, why don't you look at the Samsung Odyssey? Because the Samsung Odyssey already has exactly the same resolution that the Vive Pro is going to have, which is 1600 times 1440 pixel per eye, and you can get that now. Now actually the Vive Pro is using the same panel like the Samsung Odyssey, so you're going to have a very, very similar experience now if you look through the Samsung Odyssey or if you look through the Vive Pro. But you can get the Samsung Odyssey now. Now, do check out my full review of the Samsung Odyssey here on Mixed Reality TV, and you will find out that I really like the Samsung Odyssey, that I think it's the best headset on the market right now, so you can't really go wrong. The only thing that you must be very clear about, the tracking is not as good as the HTC Vive, and for that matter also of the Vive Pro. However, it is really, really good and for sure good enough. Anyways, what you can do, you can buy the Samsung Odyssey right now and you can use it until the Vive Pro comes out, and then again you can sell the Samsung Odyssey, and I'm sure you will still get a good price. If you buy the HTC Vive now, the original model, and then sell it off when the Vive Pro comes out, I believe there's going to be so many people that are going to sell the original HTC Vive that you might not get a great price. And well, also, do you want to spend the next few months with the low resolution one? Not so sure about it. So why don't you just look into getting the Samsung Odyssey right now and then selling it off once the Vive Pro comes out. Now let's look into the case if you were already sold on the Oculus Rift. Should you wait for the Vive Pro or should you simply go and get the Oculus Rift now? I think for that case it's very clear. Go for the Oculus Rift now. Why? Because you have already made the decision against the better tracking of the HTC Vive and you were kind of attracted to the really good price of the Oculus Rift. Also, you already made the decision against the Windows MR headsets, like for example, the Odyssey with its high resolution. So therefore, I don't think it makes sense for you to wait for the Vive Pro. Simply go ahead, get the Oculus Rift and enjoy it. It's an awesome device. Now let's look into the Samsung Odyssey. So you were just about to get the Samsung Odyssey, but now the Vive Pro was announced. What to do? Go ahead with the Samsung Odyssey or wait for the Vive Pro. Now for that part, it really depends on, do you need the very, very best tracking, the perfect tracking of the HTC Vive, or are you okay with the Windows MR tracking? Now, if you know this channel, you will probably have seen my video where I check the Windows MR controller tracking. It is really, really good. However, it is not as perfect as that of the HTC Vive. Now, if you need the very perfect tracking that always works in every single case, then probably it makes sense for you to wait for the HTC Vive Pro. But in that case, please do check my video on how well the Windows MR controller tracking works. And in that video, I think you will see if that is good for you or not. If that is good enough for you, go ahead and get the Samsung Odyssey. It has the same resolution like the upcoming Vive Pro. It will probably look very, very similar. And I don't think actually it makes sense for you to wait for the Vive Pro. Also, if you don't want to wait so long because we don't know yet when is it going to come out, get the Samsung Odyssey right now. It's a great device. And if you really then want to change to the Vive Pro, you can still sell the Odyssey and you will still get a good amount of money for it. Now, what if you didn't want to go for the Odyssey but wanted to get another Windows MR headset, like for example, the Lenovo Explorer or the HP one or the Dell one? Well, I would also simply go for it. They are so cheap right now. If you're in the States, you can get them for $200 off of Amazon or eBay, and it's simply such a steal. And these headsets are incredible. They might not have the same resolution like the Odyssey or the upcoming Vive Pro, but the resolution is better than the HTC Vive right now and also better than that of the Oculus Rift, and you can really tell the difference. It looks amazing. It looks really, really good. So I would say go ahead now and get one of those cheap devices with $200. You really can't go wrong, and you can still sell it off for, I don't know, 150 or something once the Vive Pro comes out, and then you can still change, and you don't need to wait so long without Windows MR or VR headset, because every single day is a lost day, let me tell you so much. And the same goes for all the people who are in a country where the Samsung Odyssey is not being sold. Like probably you are in Europe, like me, like I'm in Germany right now, and they don't sell the Samsung Odyssey here. Should you wait for the Vive Pro? Or should you simply go ahead and get one of those Windows MR headsets like the Lenovo Explorer, which you can also already get really cheap on eBay and Amazon? Check out the prices. Probably you can get a new HP or a new Lenovo for 280 euros. So that's really, really cheap. And also, I would say the same thing. You don't need to wait until the Vive Pro comes out. You can get one of those cheap Windows MR headsets now, and you will be amazed how great they are. Now, once the Vive Pro comes out, you can see my review. You can see if I think it's the very best of anything that's out there right now. And then you can still sell it off and get the Vive Pro. But at this moment in time, I really don't think it makes sense to wait so long for a device that we don't know yet how expensive it's going to be, when it's going to come out, and so on and so forth. And I'm telling you again, each day that you're not with VR is a day lost. It's so good. So in a nutshell, I don't believe that in general you will need to wait for the Vive Pro for sure. We don't know yet when it's going to come out. We don't know the price yet, but probably it's going to be quite on the expensive side. Now, the only case where I think it might make sense to wait is if you're sure you want to go for the HTC Vive now. Because in that case, well, you're going to have an outdated model, it's still quite expensive, and better go for an alternative now. Go for the Samsung Odyssey, for example, if you want a high resolution, and then simply sell it off once the Vive Pro is there. Yeah, what is your opinion? Please do let me know in the comment section below, or even better, directly chat with me on the MRTV Discord server. Do click on the link in the description below. You will find an awesome community there. We're discussing all different topics like this one, for example. So there's the best place to get in touch with me and to get in touch with the community. Simply click on the link in the description below, the MRTV Discord server, an awesome place to discuss everything VR and AR. And that's it already for this video. I really hope it was helpful for you. If yes, give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you have not subscribed to Mixed Reality TV yet, do so now. I'm looking forward to see you in the next episode.